you have to think about engaging, obviously there's getting the LOI signed. So we've got the property, we've got the LOI signed from the seller. Now we want to make sure we're collating all the information from that seller. And usually our LOI, and if you don't have a template LOI, I'm sure you'll be able to give one out, Zach, that has a list of things that you want to see. So you obviously want to re-see the rent roll again, because you might have seen a rent roll from like 2 months prior when you first underwrote the deal. You want to see an updated P&L, and you really want to see as much data as you can of the property in a P&L. You could get a T24 or T36, which is the last 36 months of operations. The more data you can collect, the better. You want to see the tax history, so any tax bills that they've got. You want to see the utility bills on the property, for the last 12 months. You also want to see any county assessors records. You also want to see if they've got existing surveys on the property. And all this should be pretty readily available from the broker and should be pretty requestable friendly. You sort of send a list and say, hey, our due diligence doesn't start until I get this entire list, right? And so once you've got that entire list of items, and on our checklist, I think there's about 25 to 30 different items the seller has to send to us before our DD goes hard or starts, and our money is then is in the escrow account, and thus we're under contract. But then that's just one part of it. You then need to look at the PSA negotiations, right? There's so many other different buckets. There's the legal bucket. There's this sort of title insurance bucket. There's the debt bucket. There's the equity bucket. And then there's the property. So there's probably like 4 or 5 different buckets that you need to manage as an owner to make sure everything is moving in the right direction, and you're managing it like the conductor in front of an orchestra. You're managing it in the right direction. So the property is just one element or one of those buckets. So let's move on to, just before we move off from the property, is once you do have the LOI signed, that you pretty much want to have a PSA already going straight away, and that's where you get your legal bucket involved. But let's say that's moving forward. You then need to hand over the property due diligence bucket to your property management team. And you should already have a property management team lined up who's going to be your business partner in this transaction. They are going to go and walk the property and walk every single unit. They're going to do a financial audit. They're going to go dive deeper than what I would have dove into with my review. And they have a full team. They're probably 10 to 12 people who are on site for about 3 or 4 days, at least our property management team does. And they dive through everything. They go through every single lease. They go through every single deposit check. They go through as far back as they can find on Yardi, which is usually the systems that are tracking the property management processes. They're doing property inspections. They're looking at the different types of deferred maintenance that needs to be done. And they produce me a 250-page document at the end of about a week and a half, and that helps me make a quicker decision. And fun fact, we own nearly 2,000 units, and I've only ever been to one property due diligence walk in my entire life because, again, I have a team that does it. So that's the team, that's the property management side of it, bucket on site that you need to make sure your team is off and running to. Then you got the legal stuff, which is all the PSA negotiations, and you need to be overseeing that as well because the PSA is very, very important for when you're going to close on the deal, when money is going to go hard, and how you're going to purchase it in the correct way. Then you've got the bank side of it. We've got to make sure that the bank's doing their property inspections because there's going to be our team, the property management team is going to do the property inspections, but then the bank's going to have to send out some people to make sure that they can fund the deal, right? So you need to make sure that ball is rolling. Then you also need to make sure you got your insurance ball rolling as well. Who's going to insure the property for you once you go under contract, once you close? And then the big one is obviously the equity piece. Like who's going to help you fund the deal? Who's going to raise all the money? And for us, we syndicate, right? So we go out and we raise money from, friends, family, our investor database. We have about 3,000 or 4,000 investors on our database that we email out to. So all of this is happening congruently. And I'm going to just pause there for a second because I'm sure you have some questions, but just remember there's a lot of buckets you need to manage, and the property due diligence is only just one of those buckets.